What's going on, my soul family? Welcome back to another episode of the Awake with Jake show. On today's episode, I'm going to be dropping in and sharing with you why men struggle in relationships. Now, throughout this episode, I'm going to be dropping a lot of vulnerable stuff that I have gone through in my own personal life from the many toxic relationships that I have gone through. And through those, I have learned a lot. And I really want to share with you some of the things that I have learned that have really helped me allow my heart to become more available to a relationship. Because for a long time, I lived in my mind. I was conditioned to be this alpha male and to never commit and to always be on the prowl. That was exactly the conditioning that I received growing up, and that really stayed deeply imprinted within me throughout my life. Now, before I get into this episode, I want to share with you that right now for Valentine's Day, I'm doing a $50 discount off my masculine and feminine energy healing course. So if you haven't already registered for this amazing course, it has over 8 hours of transformational content through video training modules, guided meditations, embodiment worksheets. And there's a bunch of cool bonuses in there when you register as well. So if you want to get this discount, it's already applied for you at checkout. Just go to jakewoodard.com/course to register today. Let's get right into this episode because I'm really excited about this. I know that this episode is going to help someone out there. So I want to just take a moment and honor you for being here to show up, to learn how to deepen yourself for yourself and in a romantic relationship. Now, in the context of what I'm going to be talking about, is masculine men, okay? Because I identify as more of a masculine man. And yes, we all have both masculine and feminine energies, but I feel as if I'm right now speaking to the masculine men and what they struggle with in relationships. The first thing that he believes that being in a relationship will take away his personal freedom. Now, this is probably one of the number one things that I struggle with most of my life, was the fear that being in a committed relationship would take away from my personal freedom. I wouldn't be able to do whatever I wanted, which was really just my ego fantasies of wanting to be free so I could always be on the prowl and always be hunting and never be locked down. And we've all heard the saying, oh, got to go home to my ball and chain. And that's really how our society has created this dogma around romantic relationships, that romantic relationships tie you down. They limit your freedom. Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to be single and you want to go do your thing, absolutely, go do your thing. But if you're looking to deepen yourself in a romantic relationship, it is going to take committing to that romantic relationship. Now, most men, including myself for a very long time, fear commitment. They think that it means weakness. They think that it means, oh, I'm settling down. I'm going to get fat and I'm going to get old. No, that's complacency. There's a big difference between committing to a romantic relationship in a divine union with a partner and building and cultivating that love. But it takes truly committing to that relationship. And most men are afraid of that commitment because they think in their mind, commitment means less freedom. I won't be able to hang out with the boys whenever I want to. I won't be able to go out getting plastered on the weekends, going banging random chicks. Sure, you may give up some of those things, but a lot of those are just really ego desires, right? Because I believe that when a man, a masculine man, is in a relationship with a really grounded, loving woman, it can bring so much out of him that he never knew existed. And that is the purpose of the yin and the yang on this planet. Because when it comes to the balancing of our inner masculine and inner feminine energies, our yin and yang energies, then everything starts to harmonize within ourselves. But because so many men are too yang, too masculine in the mind, they never take the time to slow down and get integrated with their body. So the first thing here is he thinks, like I thought for a long time, that it takes away the personal freedom. But really, that's just your ego thinking that, oh, I can't be in a committed relationship. And maybe you don't want to be right now, and that's totally fine. But if you want to be in a committed, conscious relationship, that woman is going to want you to commit to her. And there's nothing wrong with her desiring that. She's going to want to feel claimed by the masculine energy. And not in a sense of like possession. She doesn't want to be possessed by you. She wants to feel that you are grounded in the relationship and you're not flying around like Peter Pan. All right? So there's nothing wrong with her desiring to want your commitment. But the thing is, if you're not willing to give her your commitment, then don't drag her along. Don't lead her on. Because I think one of the most evil things that a man can do is awaken the love in a woman's heart with no intention of loving her the way that she desires to be loved. And I think that's very evil. So if you can't commit to her because you still have ego desires to be free and go ramage through the bar room or whatever your thing is, go do that and get that out of your system. But when you're ready to be in a relationship, get ready to commit. Get ready to commit to your own healing. Get ready to commit to your own growth, because I'm going to tell you right now, a conscious relationship will challenge you to your max. Every single bit of your ego will be triggered immensely. That is the purpose of union and partnership, is to come together to awaken from the illusion. And when the yin and the yang come together, that can happen in a divine union. It's possible. It's possible, but you have to go beyond just your ego. And you have to also realize this: being in a committed relationship doesn't mean that your freedom is going to be stripped away, okay? You just have different types of freedom now. And those freedoms that you now have is the opening of the love in your heart, because it helps you to balance your mind and your heart, which brings me to point number 2. His mind and heart aren't integrated. Now, because of all the programming that men have received throughout the years, that we as men have received throughout the years, we have been taught to constantly be busy. We're like worker bees in this matrix-like system. And a lot of people are like that. Women struggle with this as well. But for the masculine I'm speaking to right now, his mind and his heart aren't integrated. There's no connection there. So you can't love through the mind. You can only think of love. You can't feel the vibrational essence of love through the mind. It's through the body. It's through the heart. We love through the heart. The heart is a center point between the cosmic energy and the earthly energy. It's what connects us to both. So when there's no heart and mind coherence, then it means that he's numb. And a lot of times this type of man will be emotionally numb, will be emotionally unavailable. And the woman will be like, why doesn't he feel? Why isn't he vulnerable? Why isn't he expressive? Why doesn't he communicate to me? And a lot of those things come through the heart. So he may be very quick to be triggered because his ego is getting triggered because he's living in his mind. A lot of men fear the strength of their hearts, so they hide out in their mind. They hide out in their mind. And I love this quote, and the quote is, "The mind is a wonderful servant, but is a terrible master." The mind is a wonderful servant, but is a terrible master. I heard Ram Dass say that many years ago, and he was quoting it from somebody, and I don't remember who he quoted it from, but it's a wonderful quote. The mind is a terrible master, but a wonderful servant. So I want you to sit with that. Is your mind the master of your life as a masculine man? Are you constantly on this run, this busyness, this chase, this seeking the next high? Because that's what I did for a lot of my life. It was the next high. Get high doing this. And it can come in many different forms. Don't allow your mind to be your master. Allow it to be your servant. Allow it to work for you, to enjoy this human experience. So as you continue to deepen yourself through breathing deeper, becoming more conscious, practicing your meditation, grounding down, you start to come into harmony with the feminine. You stop fearing the feminine. You stop pushing the feminine away because you don't know what to do with it because it's just so beautiful to you. It's like this beautiful chocolate that you just want to eat all the time. You don't know what to do with it. So when men don't know what to do with the feminine energy, they either repress it or push it away. They either repress it, tell it to shut up, stuff it down, or push it away because they don't feel worthy of that beautiful love that's trying to pour into their life, of that yin flowing, cooling energy that's soothing to their hot, yang, masculine core. You know what I'm talking about? And by the way, the feminine is not just in the female form either. The feminine is not just in the female form either. It's of nature. It's of the wind. It's the flowing energy throughout our universe. It is life force energy. So we as men have to realize that the feminine is beautiful in all forms. And when we start breathing in that feminine energy and integrating into our body and aligning with our own inner feminine, we can harmonize with a woman, a feminine woman in this case, because that's the whole polarizing energy. And I'm not going to get into that right now, but I really want you to feel into this. The polarity is created between the masculine and the feminine, not both people being in the same energy. All right. The third thing I have here is he's not fully present in the relationship, which really goes back to not being integrated with his mind and his heart. So he's living in his mind and he's distracted. He's flighty like Peter Pan flying around. And he's not present with the woman that he's choosing to be with in that moment. And she can feel when you're not present. She can feel when you're distracted. She can feel when your mind is wandering because she's super intuitive. She has like a cosmic antenna that can sense what you're doing, what you're feeling, what you're thinking. And not that she wants to do these things. It's just that that's one of her gifts, one of her abilities. And one of your abilities is, as a masculine person, is to be able to lead with love and integrity, to be able to make clear decisions, to be structured in your life. Also, to have a sense of feeling and flow in your life. Because remember, too much structure and too much being rigid is not healthy. Too much flow of the feminine is not healthy either. So you need the balance of both within your system. And as you harmonize with your inner feminine and your inner masculine, you start to remove those toxic codes that have been downloaded into your system. So when the masculine isn't fully present in a relationship, the feminine feels that. And she gets irritated by that. She can't trust that wavering masculine energy that you have. It feels like a rocky boat to her. She doesn't want to feel that. She wants to feel your grounded presence. She wants to feel your depth. She wants to feel your heart. She wants to feel you. She wants to feel the strength of your masculinity. But she doesn't want to feel your ego need for control over her. She wants to feel that you can lead her, but not control her, not need to dominate her because you're stronger and superior to her. That's not what she desires. She wants to feel safe in the relationship. Can you make her feel safe? Can you help her to feel safe? Yes, of course, she has her own work to go through. She has her own trauma to heal, because if she's not integrating with herself and she's operating from old trauma and she's coming into the relationship like that, then that's going to manifest in the relationship. And oftentimes when we get in relationships like that, we just mirror each other's toxicity back to each other. We mirror back the unhealed parts of ourselves so we can heal, so we can awaken, so we can alchemize our pain. And if you've ever been in an experience like that, it's not fun. It is not fun. But I will tell you that it's really good to really show you where you're not. It will show you where you have more work to do. Number 4, his sexual energy is distorted. His sexual energy is distorted. Now, what I mean by this is especially men's sexual energy has been used against them to manipulate their mind. Things like pornography and everything on the internet. I mean, if you log onto Instagram as a man and you go on the discovery page, it's literally all you see is pretty much naked women. And it's constantly being implanted in your mind to make you distracted and sexually weak, to be controlled by that. The thing is here, if a man is not integrated with his sexual energy, he will be a slave to his sexual energy. He will always be chasing the next woman, the next best thing, the next shiny object. And the reason why things like porn have created such a difficult problem for men in relationships is because it starts to make them think that their partner's boring and their partner's lost this shininess of them. So, hey, I can just go on the internet and type in my idea of fantasy for that moment and ejaculate to that. What do I need to be in a relationship with her for? So then you start to go in this pattern of just rinsing and repeating. And you can never really feel committed in one relationship because you're always seeking the next best thing. You're always seeking the next shiny object. And you're easily distracted by shiny objects as they come in. So as you start to move your sexual energy up and integrating it with your higher energy centers, so moving it from your lower sexual organs up through your body with the breath, through your meditation work, breathing it up and circulating this energy throughout your body. You give your body a new sense of life force energy, because within that sexual energy, and I could do a whole teaching on just this, but within that sexual energy, and I could do more of this if you want to hear that, just let me know, leave a comment, just shoot me a message, whatever your thing is. When he starts to integrate with his sexual energy, that life force is being brought up from the primal sexual organs just to reproduce and being brought up into his higher energy centers. And women can do this as well. When you start cultivating this energy up, it's almost like pushing water through a hose. That's what we could look at it, like a physical form. Pushing water through the hose, it's cleaning out that hose, cleaning out the dirt in the hose. And that's how we really start to open up our energy centers, our chakras. And as this energy moves up and you get to the crown, it's full on. Then you're just like booming with energy. Sexual energy has so much power within it. And if it's transmuted and not distorted with the mind and your lower nature desires to ejaculate, you can experience great healing and transcendental work through that. But believe me when I say this, coming from somebody who was highly addicted to pornography, I used to watch porn 4 or 5 times a day because I would build up stress in my body and then I would release the tension through ejaculation. I would build up the stress in my body from the abuse I was going through, and then I would release it through ejaculation. But doing that made my mind corrupt because it made me seek to want to have multiple partners. And I'm not shaming you for wanting to have multiple partners, but if you want to be in a committed relationship, then you really got to commit to one person. And really it starts with committing to yourself. So bringing the energy up, using this energy as life force energy to help you awaken. And then when you're in a relationship, in a romantic relationship, you guys can dually cultivate your energies together. So the way in which I want to describe it briefly, and I'm going to go to the next point, is imagine it just staying at both of your sexual organs and this energy going back and forth. That's one way to have sex. But now imagine it circulating from your lower sexual organs up through your heart, through your partner's heart, down through your sexual organs. And it's completing a whole circuit with the heart now involved. So now you're involving both of your hearts along with the sexual energy of this in the sexual organs. So circulating this energy through both of your bodies brings you into deeper union. You're literally merging each other's souls. But when a man's energy is distorted, his sexual energy is distorted, he will always be seeking the next best thing. And no matter how attractive the girl is, eventually she'll lose her shine and he'll just want to move on to the next thing, and he'll fade it right out. He'll just fade it out because his energy is lusting after something else. And if you know anything about lust, it's not just about sex either, because you can eat a bowl of ice cream and feel lust. You're lusting in that bowl of ice cream in that moment. It feels so good when it goes down and taste buds are firing off. But then what happens when you stop eating the ice cream? Well, the feeling left you. It's the same thing with the ejaculation. So if your goal is just to chase women, to use their bodies to masturbate and ejaculate, it's always going to be just that, just eating the next bowl of ice cream. And that's how we start to move from the unconscious parts of ourselves that are just seeking the physical ego desires to feel fulfilled in the moment to true fulfillment, which true fulfillment to me comes from having a divine purpose and being of service on this planet. And however that looks, having a mission to help others, to bring consciousness, to bring forward truth. One of the masculine's deepest desires is to have a true mission, to bring more truth and more consciousness into this earth. Ooh. And number 5 here. Woo! And just a reminder, to get that $50 discount, it's already been applied for you for my masculine and feminine energy course. Go to jakewoodard.com/course. It's only going to be valid for a few days, so you don't want to miss out on this. I promise you that this course will be worth every penny and time that you invest into this. Number 5, he doesn't want his ego to be challenged. Whew, this one was really hard for me. Swallowing your pride in a relationship when your ego just wants to fire back. You're wrong. I'm right. Look how stupid you are. Don't you see how great I am? The ego loves to be validated. It loves to make others feel less than. And this isn't to demonize the ego. But in relationship, ego doesn't do well because it sees anything that's challenging it to be more loving, to be more compassionate, as a threat. Because the ego doesn't understand love. The ego is of the body, but love is eternal. Love is non-physical. Love is this beautiful feeling, this vibration that pours through our bodies. And the ego can't understand it. So the mind, because it's corroded with other thoughts, it doesn't understand this essence of love. So in a relationship, the relationship is bringing you together as the mirrors of each other to come deeper into yourself, to deeper into your connection to your soul and to your heart, to go beyond your ego. So when you get into a relationship and you get through the honeymoon phase, which I really also call it just the lustful phase of the relationship, when that wears off, then it's like now your egos are both going to be exposed. And whatever the ego is holding on to in that moment, whatever trauma, abandonment, neglect, all the stuff that the ego is grabbing onto and clinging to in that moment is going to be shown in the relationship. It's going to be exposed because you guys are both holding mirrors to each other going, oh, see that? And you're not doing this intentionally. It's just your energy is matching that back and forth. Oh, you just got triggered. Why did you get triggered? Is that because your mother didn't love you the way that you desired when you were little? So you're still seeking your mother's approval and validation? And now this woman that's manifested in your life is reflecting back your mother wound to you. And you need her validation, so you're going to chase her. And this is just one example. Or maybe it's a father wound. Maybe the woman in the relationship has a deep father wound where she was abandoned by her father. And because she was abandoned by her father, she has a really hard time trusting masculine energy. So when she gets into a relationship with a masculine man, because her father wasn't there as the masculine supportive figure, how is she going to trust you? It's going to take time for her to let down her guard, to heal her wounds, and to open her heart to you. The feminine is not just going to surrender. The conscious feminine is not just going to surrender to some masculine man because he shows up like a knight in shining armor. He needs to earn that surrender. And I can tell you right now, when she does finally just surrender to you, and she decides to, and she's a conscious, awakened woman, like I know the badasses are that are listening to this podcast right now, when she does surrender to you, it is the most fulfilling feeling in the world. And not from an ego sense. It's not like, oh, look at this chick, she's fully surrendered to me. No. You don't even think that. Her surrender is just the openness of the universe. It's just imagine having the keys to these two sacred gates, these two huge golden gates. And these gates now are just wide open. And you look inside and all you see is the infinite universe. That's what it's like looking into a surrendered woman. And most men will never experience this in a relationship because they're so afraid of the feminine, they don't know what the hell to do with it. But when a woman surrenders to you, and I mean truly surrendered, and she is devoted to you, and she supports you, and she loves you, it is literally like opening the gates to the universe and looking inside of that. It's infinite. It's infinite possibilities what you can do with a divine feminine by your side as a conscious masculine man. Your mission becomes so much deeper. You become so much more balanced. You're not so rigid and tense and money focused and mind focused. You have a sense of gentle flow in your life. You start to loosen up a little bit and stop being such a tight ass all the time. I hope that this episode brought you so much value. I love you for being here. It means the world to me to have your love and support. If this episode did bring you value, please take a moment right now so you don't forget to do it. Take a screenshot, share it to your Instagram story, tag me in it, and that would just mean the world to me. Once again, don't forget to take advantage of that $50 discount for Valentine's Day. Go to jakewoodard.com/course to get the $50 off my masculine and feminine energy course. This course is jam-packed with wisdom, over 8 hours of transformational content. It's been valued at over $2,000, and you're going to get it when you sign up today for only $247. So thank you once again for being here with me. I love you and I appreciate you. And as always, stay open, stay loving, and stay connected to that beautiful source within you.